Andrew Stewart, Houston, am I an asshole because I think Blazing Saddles is funny? I think it makes racism look silly, but one of my friends disagrees. That's entirely the point. When um, when Richard Pryor and Mel Brooks wrote it, their entire thesis was to make racism look silly. That's why it is such an important film. Yes, it's a funny comedy, but it was a film. It was probably the first film to really make racists the butt of the joke. You had other important films like In the Heat of the Night, where uh, you had black man slap a white man, things like that you hadn't seen before, asserting their power. But like, the shock of that versus making the racist suddenly, look at this idiot. This guy's so stupid. He's such a dumb, backwards, like knuckle dragger. It like gave power to people to make fun of these racists and sucked away power from the racists. People say, "Oh, you couldn't make it today." Yeah, you could. You totally could make it today. I don't think it would have the same impact because, the first time you're exposed to something is really, really, really powerful. Uh, uh, this week while I was like laying in bed being, I made a couple lists, and one of the lists was like my top 10 action films of all time. And every single one of those movies I put on that list, the first time I saw it was like the first time I ate filet mignon. Growing up, my mom would get the cheapest steak because we were poor. She worked as like a house cleaner and was a college student, and we were poor. And once a month we'd have steak or something other than just like mac and cheese and salad. And she'd get the cheapest steak, cover it in salt and pepper, some lemon, throw it in the oven, and just broil the shit out of it. And we'd have like shoe leather steak. It was good. It was steak. In my entire life, that's what steak was. So I never really went to a restaurant and was like, ooh, steak. Because in my brain, it was just like, you chew on this thing and there's like gristle and fat and it just was like beef jerky. I get a burger because a burger was tender and that's what I get. And then I was maybe 16 and one of my mom's friends from her youth came to visit us, and her husband is a professional bass fisherman. I'd never heard of that there was such a thing as professional bass fisherman, but he was a millionaire. He had like a TV show on like the Outdoor Channel and fished for bass for money. And they lived next door to Ted Williams in some fancy development in Alabama. Anyway, we got to a fancy restaurant, his treat because he's rich, and he's like, "Get anything you want off the menu there, boy." And I was like, it's all French. I don't know what any of this is. He's like, "Get yourself there a filet mignon." And I was like, "Okay, one filet mignon." And the waiter's like, "Filet mignon?" "Yes, one of those." And he's like, "How would you like it cooked?" And I was like, he's like, "You want some medium rare?" And I said, "Medium rare." He's like, "Okay." So out came this like little tiny steak. And I cut into it, and it just cut with like, it just like, I had my steak knife, and I basically touched it and went, huh, and cut it to pieces. And I was like, whoa, that's different than what I'm used to, which is like sawing with a serrated blade for a good moment until like a bead of sweat comes on your head, and then chewing on this thing for 20 minutes. And took that piece, put it in my mouth, and I was transported into another world. Absolutely, like, did not know that food could taste like this ever. Like, all I wanted was more. I was like, holy shit, this might be the greatest piece of food I've ever had in my entire life. This is amazing. I need to do it again. And a couple years later, my brother and I went to go see The Matrix. As my senior year of high school, I flew down to California to go visit him during spring break. And I was like, "Hey, The Matrix got good reviews. Want to go see that tonight?" He's like, "Totally." We went to go see The Matrix. Our brains melted. We went, hid in the bathrooms, went and saw it again. And then hid in the bathrooms again and saw it a third time. We saw it 3 times in a row. Sorry, Cineplex Odeon, we totally stole from you. But we watched The Matrix 3 times in a row because our brains just couldn't comprehend what it was we just saw. Now, how revolutionary the Matrix was, right? If you are a 19-year-old kid today, 18-year-old kid today, the movie's been around for 24 years. You were already somewhat familiar with like the techniques and the digital work and the bullet cam and stuff like that you've seen in other movies. So to you, the revolutionary aspect of that film might not sit the same way. Just like, the revolutionary aspect of the Beatles don't sit the same way as bands that were fresh when I was young, right? Because like the Beatles existed in my brain forever, right? So there was nothing new and profound about what they did by the time I heard them 25 years later. So, Blazing Saddles in its time was super revolutionary and melted brains. People didn't know that you could do this, that you could satirize these racists in a way that made them the butt of the joke, and everybody just went, ha ha ha, this is amazing. And you could use this language, and you could throw the slapstick in with the social commentary and make this like beautiful little, I don't know, bouquet out of it. So if someone were to do a film similar today, it wouldn't have the same impact because it's already been done. It'd be like, oh yeah, there you go, good job, you're carrying on the tradition, we get it. But Blazing Saddles was revolutionary in its ability to do that. What would be the term? I'm asking the dog who's on the floor here. What would be the term, Monkey, when you have like an first time experience that breaks your brain? Is there a word for it? It's probably a German word for it. Anybody know the German word for when you first experience something and it melts your brain? Milton, brain, and experiencing? I don't know. But